Hello, beautiful soul family. Hope you guys are well. I just wanted to share a very important message about how can we activate our higher guidance and how can we connect with our inner guidance. And first of all, in this video, I'm going to go into who are our guides and angels who can assist us, why they assist us, and how we can connect more deeply with them to activate our inner guidance system. So to begin with, it is very important to understand completely why connecting with our inner guidance is so useful. A lot of people may think that either they don't have the ability to connect to their guidance, and even if they did, why would they work so hard to connect with guidance where they don't understand what kind of questions can be answered? If everybody understood how easy it is for us to connect with our guides and how useful and how tangible their guidance can be, everybody would be doing it. And that's my intention, to share this important information in this video about how and why should we connect with our guidance. So I'll give an example from my own awakening journey. It started sometime in 2014. 2012 was a turning point for my life where everything was going topsy-turvy. And then 2014 was really when everything just opened up, like my third eye opened up and my inner guidance all of a sudden opened up. I had a very rapid awakening. And for me, I was very intuitive from a young age. I sort of received messages, but I want to emphasize the fact that this is not a gift that you have to be born with. This is literally something that is inbuilt inside us, and it's just software of our light body that we have not yet activated, simply because it needs our intention to activate it. So the first thing is that anybody can access their inner guidance and intuition, and they should. Now, in my case, when I awoke and I started getting messages from my guides, it was a very crucial time. I was navigating a very nasty marriage and had to go through a very nasty divorce. And my guidance, it was like bang on. It was telling me what I need to do and what I should avoid at every step of the way, in a way that I can be the most loving version of myself possible, take responsibility for my energy, and it helped me navigate through a very difficult period of my time. Furthermore, my guidance even helped me activate my template of fifth dimensional reality, how to manifest anything I desire, how to achieve financial freedom. Literally, my guides gave me practical tips, tools, and advice that if I hadn't followed, I wouldn't be able to do the things I love to do, which is share my knowledge and wisdom with everybody else and see this planet rise in its vibration. So all these things and more can be achieved if we listen to our inner guidance. So never fall into this mentality that you are not able to channel your guides, you're not able to access them, or that you're just going to pay a fortune teller and they'll do it for you, because that's a form of giving your power away. So why not use our own channels to get the important messages that we need to hear? So it's a good idea to start by familiarizing ourselves who spirit guides are and how this whole system of guidance, inner guidance, works. So as most of us who are tuning into this message are already awakened and walking their spiritual path, and to some extent we understand that we're more than matter. There's so much more to the universe that remains unseen, and that's what we call the world, the spirit world behind the veil. So we're in this veil of physicality, and above the veil there's higher dimensional beings, there's angels, there's ascended masters, there's our galactic family, there's our ancestral lineage, all of the people who have been in our family trees and have crossed over to the other side. And it's important to also understand and differentiate. For example, somebody in our family who may have passed away and died may not necessarily be the most wisest person that you want to guide you, but sometimes they can come in and start guiding you after death because of their love for you. They feel a connection still, even when they've passed over. So it's important for us to understand that in such a case, the guidance can also be detrimental to your benefit. So I'm going to go into a healing decree that teaches us how to cleanse our team of guides so that only the most beneficial messages come through. Another thing to recognize is that ascended masters are all people who have walked this earth, or they may have walked other earths or other third dimensional planes of existence within our galaxy or the universe. And such ascended masters we know very well as Jesus, as Buddha, as Saint Germain. So all of these people relate to humanity at a very deep level because they've been through all of our pain and struggles. On a different dimensional level, I was about to say higher, but there's no higher, lower dimensions from the perspective of oneness. They're just various layers of the same cake. And from a different dimensional perspective, there are angels and there are higher dimensional beings that are completely etheric. They are not in physicality at all. The Arcturians are a galactic race who've evolved over billions of years, and they have no need to incarnate on dense planets any longer. So they're one example of a spirit consciousness that guides humanity. They work very closely with humanity. Then there's angels, there's seraphim, and there's dragons, there's dolphins, and each of these, there's unicorns. Each of these beings are very real. They exist in higher planes, and they can all bring us wisdom from their respective planes of existence. However, it is also important to note that some of these higher dimensional beings do not have access to human experience. They've never actually walked in the physical flesh and bone. So for them to be able to relate to us on physical levels is very difficult. So it's more helpful for us to connect with angels for higher dimensional guidance. And perhaps if you have a problem that relates to earth life, then connect with an ascended master because they'll be more in touch with the day-to-day reality. Another very important thing to realize is that sometimes when we awaken, we're still in a very low state of consciousness in the lower 4D, and a lot of our thoughts are negative. We're still programmed heavily, and we're able to attract lower dimensional beings. And lower dimensional beings, I've explained in some previous videos. You can rewatch some of the videos. I forgot the title, but lower dimensional beings are capable of coming into your field and impersonating higher dimensional guides in order to achieve their own agendas. Now, this is not to project fear on anyone because these beings are just pests. They're not something to be afraid of. They may pose as big bullies at certain times, but they're nothing to be afraid of. So if you are newly awakening, it is important to understand that you can be vulnerable to receiving guidance from lower dimensional beings and how to differentiate and how to avoid it. And an interesting example is from one of my friends. She mentioned that she's receiving clear guidance, and the last 6 months, her higher self had made her do very humiliating tasks. And I said, like what? And she said, they made me eat cat food. And I said, why would your higher self do that? And she said, oh, to humiliate me, of course. And I'm like, no, honey, this is something to be very concerned about, because your higher self or your angels or your guides would never do anything to humiliate you. They're only able to speak in the most loving and most kind and compassionate way. So this is like a litmus test that you can apply. If any being that is posing to be a higher dimensional being, if they encounter you, the first thing you do is ask them to identify themselves. And you ask them, are you of the fifth dimensional consciousness or higher? Yes or no? Please present yourself. And you ask them this question very clearly while being in your power. And if they even avoid the question, you have to ask them to leave, because sometimes they can muddle up the answer, to try to confuse you. It has to be a clear yes 3 times. And it is universal law that if a entity is not of your highest good and you demand that they leave, they must leave. But you have to be in your power to ensure that does take place. So another very important decree that we can use to banish all lower dimensional beings and entities, or even well-wishing ancestors who are not acting in our highest good, we can ask them to be banished immediately. So you may just close your eyes, bring your attention into your heart, and take a deep breath. You can say it with me now. This is only for your highest good and highest good alone. I hereby lovingly ask all of my guides vibrating at lower than unity consciousness to kindly depart immediately and leave me permanently. I thank you for your service. And so it is. And once you say this decree very powerfully, they must leave. And if there's any guides that you are visualizing with your third eye that they're hesitating or not leaving, you have to demand them to leave. So you have to be assertive. And it is universal law that they have to respect your wishes, because it's a free will universe. So why do guides assist us? So with this decree, we've cleared up any debris in our fields of guides. Most people have about 5 to 10 guides. Some people who have done a lot of traveling in this universe, we gain connections through our various incarnations in different realms of this universe. And some of us have guides in the hundreds or 200s. So it is possible for you to have a very large tribe, although that may not be the best thing for you because the guidance can get a bit overwhelming. So everyone has guides assigned to them at birth, and most of these guides stay with us throughout our whole journey of this lifetime. Now, most guides, they don't even pay attention to us while we're walking this planet asleep. That means we have not spiritually awoken yet. Once we awaken, it's like a celebration. It's like guides are so joyous that you're experiencing your awakening, because it's rare for in our human journey to experience a lifetime of awakening. The dominant lifetimes are spent in duality consciousness. So it's a momentous occasion. Our guides welcome us, they rejoice, and that's when the fun begins. They start speaking with you, they start strategizing. You can literally create a roundtable conference with your guides, and first thing in the morning you can literally conjure them up. They're at your service. Speak to them with so much respect, humility, and love, and they will always be there and return those sentiments to you. So create a roundtable conference with your guides and ask them to chime in. Set your intentions for the day. Tell them what you want from the day. I want to experience joy, peace, and harmony today. Or you can be more specific and say, I have this deadline, and guys, I need your assistance. I need to get all distractions out of my way. I need to focus. I need energies of concentration and upliftment. So I want complete peace and stillness. So it's not always guaranteed that all the wishes will be granted, but whatever is physically possible will be done. And you will see magic unfold if you start communicating this way. So this is just a reminder that our all the technology of light that is contained within our bodies, our chakras, our third eye, our crown, and there's our channeling chakra, which is located right behind this. Maybe one day it might be a good idea for me to create a activation meditation to open up your channeling chakra, and that'll be a good follow-up to this video at some point in the future. So I'm setting the intention to do that. So how do we actually activate our inner guidance? The same way we do anything with light technology is through intention and communicating with ourselves, because everything is an aspect of ourself. So we can decree, I hereby wish to open up my connection with my higher guides, with my team of angels, and I wish to invoke your assistance in my daily life, and I wish to strengthen my connection on a daily basis. That's a very general blanket kind of degree that you could use. Of course, you can customize it and make sure your language is clear and concise, because in the fifth dimension consciousness, everything is very well defined and words have power. So you can also slip in like negative vibrations if you use the wrong word. So make sure your words are always positive and uplifted and short and sweet. So once you create this healing decree, you can also do an exercise on a daily basis. So what I like to do, I do this in the shower every morning, is create a column of white light. And we're already under water when we're taking our morning shower or bath, and our bodies are being cleansed, and not only that, but our aura is being cleansed. Any negative or dark entities cannot even exist under running water. So that's the best way to cleanse your aura and your field in the morning. And create a pillar of white light about 6 feet in diameter around your body, and fill up this whole pillar all the way up to the top, to your higher self, and all the way down to the center of the earth, to the core of Mother Earth. And fill up this pillar with golden codes, with angelic white codes. Ask for the primordial light of source to filter through you, cleanse your aura, cleanse your chakras, and do not send any negative or dark energy to earth, because currently we're trying to cleanse earth of all darkness. Instead, send it upwards into the great central sun to be recycled. So when you create this pillar, now you're completely cordoned off. You're connected with your higher self and you're fully grounded. It is of utmost importance that we send our grounding cord daily to Mother Earth, especially when we're opening up our higher channels and our higher chakras. If we do not ground properly, the messages can be lost. The messages can be lost in translation. So higher messages come through our galactic gateway chakra, and then the soul star. So light codes stream from the great central sun, filtered through your guides, filtered through the angelic realms, filtered through your higher self, your oversoul, your monad, and all these layers, not in that particular order, all these layers come through, and these codes get translated by your third eye into messages that the rest of your body receives. And these messages, when they are received, create your reality. So it is a free will universe. You have to decide yes or no. I will follow this, I will ignore this, maybe later. You have to sort all these things out. But your reality is literally created by these directives that are coming through the sixth dimensional reality of signs, symbols, and sacred geometry. So once you connect with your guides on a daily basis, be very specific about what kind of assistance you need. And you can ask for anything and everything. You can ask for assistance with projects. You can ask for advice in your relationships, about your jobs. You can ask for how can I be financially free so I can do my soul's work? How can such and such problems be removed from my life? Anything and everything. Your guides have a collective knowledge of, they have access to universal knowledge. So in a way, your guides are just a reflection of you. It just helps us in duality to think of them as us, them, and me. However, it's all unity consciousness. We're all different aspects of ourselves speaking with each other. We exist in all these dimensions. So that's the next level of understanding, that your guides are just a different aspect of you. And these are all aspects of you talking to each other. It helps to visualize that. Another way you can speak with your guides is through dreams. So before you go to sleep at night, perhaps you might want to set an intention or ask a question that you want answered in your dream state. And the first thing you do after you wake up, before you sleep, you ask the question, you wake up, and keep a notebook and a pen handy just by your bedside. and take notes on the first few thoughts, or if you can recollect the dream that you just had. So take notes of everything that came through, and there's gold hidden in these messages if you are able to connect with them and decipher their messages. A lot of guidance is very clear. Like it's like some people have guidance in their higher mind, like they receive guidance from their higher self, and it just comes as a knowing. That's one of my superpowers. I just have knowings, and I know, I just get downloads, and I'm able to know what it is. So I get that very clearly. And third eye is also something that is helpful in clear audience, clear knowing, clear intuition. There's people who hear guidance. There's people who can literally, that happens to me sometimes too, where I can hear my guides. It's as if there's this inner voice speaking with me. And that sounds crazy if you tell that to other people, right? We have inner voices. That's what, yeah, that's one of the things society actually puts in our consciousness as brainwashing us to close our intuition. There's this concept in our society that if you hear voices in your head, you're crazy. So guess why they injected that, right? They don't want us accessing our intuition. It's so interesting. But once you become aware, these inner voices can be life-changing. It's so exciting. So now that we know a bit about how the guidance system works and how we can activate it, I just wanted to give some practical tips and advice on how to strengthen our intuition and guidance. So doing the daily meditation of grounding and connecting with your higher self, like I mentioned. Also, a daily meditation to completely still your mind, because it's very important for us to not have an overactive mind, because these thoughts can become like psychic debris that are constantly surrounding us. And those of us who are overly logical or overly head oriented, are overly analytical, may have difficulty to hear their inner voice until all these thoughts are mastered. So stillness, presence of mind, breathing, just look up a few meditations for calmness of mind on YouTube. You'll get a whole list of things you can do. What are some of the other things? I took a few notes here. One thing you can do is automatic writing, is just ask a question that you need guidance for, create a sacred space, light a candle, sage, and take a notebook and a pen. And when you ask this question with the proper intention in a sacred space, what can happen is when you start writing an answer, initially it'll be your own consciousness writing, and eventually it'll merge more and more with your higher self and your guides. So this can give us spectacular answers that when you reread it, you wouldn't believe your eyes that you wrote that. It's something higher that just kicks in. And all these techniques, I'm not saying they'll work for everybody, so try out different things and see what works for you. It's very important for us to surround ourselves with positive people. If we're just constantly in a stress environment, if we have a spouse which is constantly at odds with us, or parents or family, we need to be in a very loving and supportive environment, and that's a whole different topic that we need to create that space for ourselves one way or another. It may take some time, but it's very conducive to our inner peace, and that's how we can access our guidance more. We have to empower ourselves and create boundaries for ourselves. We have to create a life that our soul lights up when we are aligned with that path. So the more we align with our soul's path, the higher our guidance gets, the higher our channeling gets, the higher our intuition and knowing gets. We have to let go of self-doubt, and we have to completely stop looking for other people's validation. So nobody's opinion of you matters but your own. And that's something that has to be absorbed into the deepest frequencies of our mind, body, and soul. Nobody's opinion of you matters but yourself. And when you are so sure of yourself, when you are so in your center, you're able to operate through your higher dimensional being. And you create the life that you desire by simply following your passion and your bliss. So it's very important for us to follow our passion, because when we're receiving guidance, it's usually to get us back in alignment. It's usually to assist us initially with things that are not in alignment, like our job may be stressful, not in alignment, our relationship may be stressful, not in alignment. So our guidance can help us create the life of bliss without asking how am I going to get there. If you simply surrender and follow your guidance, you can create the life of your dreams. And I'm living example of that. I'm not gonna lie. It's magic. And over the next few videos, I'm going to share and go into my own stories more. I don't want to ramble too long for today, but I'll give more detailed narratives on how my guidance helped me weave through complicated scenarios, and it does every single day. So having said that, I just wanted to wrap things up by saying thank you for tuning in. I love you. And please do share the message if it resonates. And don't forget to subscribe and like. I love you guys. Until next time.